Powerful and spicy Star Wars Dark Side hot sauce by Truff. We've even got merchandise for you to rock while tuning in to the IGN shows and podcasts you love. Or cap off a long day by relaxing to the soundtracks of your favorite video games, like Cyberpunk and The Last of Us. And the best part? You don't even need to leave the house to go there. Just head to store.ign.com and start shopping today. The IGN Store.
Welcome to 15th century Bohemia, where civil war runs rampant across medieval Europe and clashing steel and armor is just part of day-to-day life. Here to talk about all things Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is international PR manager from Warhorse Studio, Toby Stoltz-Villing. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You came bearing gifts somewhat. This is the collector's edition, which was just revealed. It's clearly very impressive. These two are not included, unfortunately, but a lot of stuff is included. Can you kind of show us what comes in the box?
Well, it's very precious, so I took my guard. I see your guys' eyes here, but hey, it's a collector's edition, of course, with the great stuff in there. However, all those items are actually have some connection to the game. So, of course, Henry on a horse, Pebbles, right? The main character of the game with exchangeable weapons. So either you have the San George here killing the dragon. Well, there's no good dragon in KCD, of course. But if you want to do that, or rather have Henry with a little sword, that's cool. However, this letter here also has some, it's not some, hey, thank you for having us and thank you for buying the collector's edition. That's actually a letter. You know, in KCD 1, the game ends with you getting a letter which you are supposed to carry to that castle and ask the lords if they're on your side or not. In KCD 2, you still have that letter, but in the beginning, everything goes south, you lose it. You theoretically know what's inside, but you never open it. However, if you have the collector's edition, then you get the real deal, the real letter, and you will actually find out what the lords of Ratai and so on, what they actually want from you.
Oh,
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Get it yourself.
I love that. It's kind of like an invitation into the game almost.
Absolutely. And of course, last but not least, a map of Kuttenberg, Kutner Horror, because that one is the big addition to Kingdom Come Deliverance. And also it was the biggest challenge to put in the game because it has thousands of NPCs there with daily cycles.
You built a
and
city.
Absolutely.
It's impressive. Also, is there a lock on there?
Well, there's a love and hate relationship with our lockpicking mechanism. So I thought, hey, you know what? Let's put a lockpicking mechanism on top. Don't worry, everyone, right? You don't have to put out your lockpicks and start to do something there. It's just like a memento.
I love it. This is a very thoughtful collector's edition. Now let's take a look at the game itself. You just showed off gameplay very recently. We've got, I believe, a chunk of it to check out here. Set the stage. What's going on for us here? What's going on?
So first of all, we are seeing here something is going on. They want to hang someone, actually someone from the Devil's Pack, because in KCD 2 now, can't deal with the things himself anymore. He needs a group of friends. In KCD1, you're pretty much alone and just dealing with local nobles and bandits and I don't know what. In KCD2 now, you're going in the bigger stages where kings are involved, where armies are involved. And Henry, I sometimes say that in KCD1, Henry was the champion of the Sunday League, and now in KCD2, he's like supposed to play in the Premier League, but well, he knows the sport, but he needs to learn more and get bigger and better. And he will quickly realize that he needs friends and that he needs a gang to push everything forward. And the poor fellow we saw there is Komar or Mosquito, and he didn't look that well, but let's see how that's going on.
Now we've got the map pulled up here. How big is this compared to the original?
Well, that really depends. I mean, we say twice the size. However, it depends which numbers you're comparing there. But generally, two big maps. One is a tiny bit smaller, one is a tiny bit bigger. One is more countryside, as you can see here. Deep forests, huge sandstone formation, really wonderful. This reminds us a little bit of KCD1, of course, because someone said that we have the nicest forests there are in video games. But the second map is the one that will invite you to Kutna Hora, which is today a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that will be more industrious. There will be silver mining going on, the armies and the kings, and everyone will be there.
Now we have some gameplay a little further on that's going to show all the NPCs and how they interact with Henry. But what's going on right now? I guess what are we doing in town right now?
Absolutely. So this is one of the earlier quests in the game where you have to find a few guys which you heard they're here somewhere around this pub playing dice with the local people here. However, dice and any sort of gambling, of course, is a problem today, was a problem back in the time, so he got into some trouble with these fellows here, and they will tell you, hey, yeah, we know where you do this, just follow us in a few seconds, he's right around the corner. The point is that the game is a tiny little bit more talkative, let's say, right? Everyone has a lot of things to say. However, you can't skip those things. You don't have to do that. You can delve into it, but there's always a way how to get to the end really quickly. And we are now trying to find that guy that owes us.
Okay. Now, it's a role-playing game. Choices matter. Tell us about that. Tell us about the branching path and player choice here.
Oh, yeah. So, in KCD, it's really not about the 100 different endings or whatever. The point is how you get there. That's important, right? Every quest, not every, most of them, many of them, can be solved in different ways. That means, well, Spartacus sword ahead, or speech dialogue, speech skill, and so on. Well, of course, that's not unique. Other games have this as well. However, your choices will absolutely and will change the outcome of the quest and the way how they play through. For instance, you spare some dudes that are apparently trying to attack you and kill you. You don't know who they are. You spare them. They run off, and later in the game you might meet them, and they might actually help you because those guys weren't bad. They were just it was a bad misunderstanding. However, if you cut them right away, then of course they will be gone and so on. But these are the small ones. There can be big things, moral choices where Henry really decides who lives and who dies, and
now,
that's big.
It looks like Henry's gotten himself in in deep doo-doo, actually. Tell us about this. Where are we?
Well, we found that dude that owes us, and we were apparently not the only one who he owed to. So he said, yeah, we have that dude here, who sank in pig shit, unfortunately, behind the local pub. So poor Henry had to crawl through the doo-doo and get him out there because he had something on him, a precious bow, and the dudes want the bow, but Henry is like, no, guys, I went through the doo-doo, that's my precious element now, and in a few seconds combat will start.
Now, do you need to have played the first game to jump into this one?
We tried extremely hard, and I hope we nailed it, to make sure that you absolutely do not need to know anything about Kingdom Come Deliverance in order to enjoy the second game. In the beginning, we tell you the bare necessary information. This is you, that's your friend, this is the letter, that's the castle you have to go, good luck, have fun. The rest is coming with nightmares Henry is having, they're in dialogues that will tell you, hey, listen, how did this and that turned out, and so on. And these things will be slowly but steadily brought to you. Never with fist in your face, but really smoothly, so that even old fans of the genre of KCD will not feel like, oh, dude, I saw that already, I'm bored.
Very nice. Full disclosure, I checked out the first game. I'm very early in it, but the second one is what got my attention. So I'm doing a little bit of research ahead of time. But let's talk about the combat here.
Absolutely. So we are still trying to depict the historical martial arts from Central Europe or Middle Ages in Europe generally, and we had real sword fighters in the studio and mace fighters and so on who showed us how it's supposed to look like. We told them why this is not possible in a video game because you need those broad moves and everything. But still, I think we have a very good compromise and the closest you can get to actual sword fighting. However, in KCD1, people said some of the feedback was it's easy to learn but hard to master. We nailed the hard to master, the easy to learn not so much. So in KCD2, like with everything else we did in the first part, we smoothed it out, made it nicer and just easier and more accessible. So even the combat was revamped. It's still an evolution, not a revolution. It's the same as it was before, just more accessible with more options to choose from.
The choice is a big part of this, and we're seeing some of the different ways you can approach stuff in this montage right here. We got a glimpse of a crossbow, we got some stealth, we saw a firearm.
Absolutely, and we also saw that it can go super south when you're like in the stocks there. So the early gunpowder weapons is something that became slowly but steadily popular on medieval battlefields around 1403, a bit earlier, a bit later. So this is something that we also added to the game. However, KCD is not becoming a shooter all of a sudden. Very important. It's still an RPG which focuses on melee combat. However, those super weapons, let's call them super weapons, is more something like a ultimate weapon, right? You fire once, you kill him in one shot, and then you switch to your melee weapon and go ahead. And to make this a little bit easier, we made it easier also for players to change weapons in combat and so on, that you can really have kind of sets that you can prepare and so on to make it just more smoother and feel better.
Now, what's Henry up to? We just saw him. He was in. He got covered in pig excrement. How does that affect his reputation and his experience in the game?
So the goal is that all the NPCs in the world are living and breathing earth. They do something, they go somewhere, and they will react to you as well. So if you are covered in pig excrement, then they will react to you. They will say, dude, you stink, or stealth will be harder, or the speech skill will be harder to pass, and so on. So these things really affect you, and you as Henry, or you as the gamer, have to then take care of yourself. Don't be afraid. This is not a survival game all of a sudden as well. It's like these little elements there, the details that make this game so great and so immersive, because that is what we want actually. You see on screen that Henry is going through doo-doo, so of course he's supposed to be dirty and stinky and whatever and needs to take care of it. So where to go? Bathhouse.
What are the different options here in the bathhouse? we don't have to go into that right now, I suppose, but it's a mature game. I want to talk about the historical accuracy, because I get the sense you've done a little bit of research into how things used to be.
Absolutely. So everything we do is based on, well, we want to make it as authentic as possible. So this is still not a simulation, and this is not a 100% realistic, that's exactly how it was. It's the closest we can get in the limitations we have creating a video game. And that is what we do first and foremost. But we have a full-time historian on the team. She's working with museums, the mayor of Kuttenberg himself, reenactors, universities, and so on, and gather this information from those people who know this infinitely better than us. And then together we're coming up with the best possible compromise to still be fun, interesting gameplay and so on, and push everything forward. So yeah, we're trying to make it authentic, but keep in mind it's just a video game.
Now, it's also a very cinematic video game. I appreciate that it's all first person, but then we get to see Henry from the outside. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think, well, it's of course an action RPG, but the story part, the epic story that we are trying to tell there, is, in my opinion, the bread and butter of the game. It's like a playable Netflix series or something like that. Really, it's really epic. You can change the outcomes. You can have your impact in that. You can see how everything turns out, and it's full of cinematics and cutscenes, of course, to make this interesting and make it awesome and give you this feel of this bombastic, epic experience you can have there. So that's definitely a big thing.
Now, tell us a little bit about Kuttenberg. How much time will Henry spend getting to know the city, and what kind of adventures are we going to have?
Kuttenberg was definitely the biggest challenge for us as a team. It has hundreds of buildings, thousands of NPCs, so we've never done anything like that. And for the guys who played KCD1 and maybe can remember Rattay, well, Rattay is just a street in Kuttenberg, so this is like, that was a huge thing for us. And Henry, of course, and it's occupied by the invading king, so dangers everywhere around. It's a huge medieval city that is a silver mining town, so it's rich, so there's riches to go and find, adventure to find, and a lot of side quests, mini games, dark alleys. And as I said, the invading king is sitting there right now. And as you are part of a guerrilla force, maybe you have to do a lot of guerrilla tactics there.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, Toby, thank you so much for joining us. Step into the grooves of Henry of Skalitz when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC on February 11th, 2025. Coming up next, a look at a few more games in the PlayOn family, including Undisputed, Akimbot, and Nobody Wants to Die.
Can I ask you something personal? Do you believe in life after death?
I'm 120 years old, and I don't have any strength left to keep recalling the past.
All those innocent souls.
Sure! Just let me make a blood sacrifice to the Wi-Fi gods!
Refusing to give up.
You know, a guy once told me, don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. And I don't know what that guy's up to now, but I hope he's playing Payday 3. Here to discuss what's going up next for the co-op heist shooter is Starbreeze Entertainment's Ludwig Hazelius.
Hello.
Hello.
So nice to be here.
I love saying Hazelius. That's
Oh,
such a
you
good
do?
name.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I like it a lot. It's really nice.
I was just saying you had to grow up with it, so I hope you like.
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, so speaking of your name being special, I heard you also have something else special to show us here today.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really excited to be here, and you know, we are going to show some stuff of our upcoming DLC, Fear and Greed, and you know, it's shed a little bit of light in terms of what we're going to do for Payday in the near future. So really happy to be here to talk about that.
Yeah, so can you walk us through the Payday 3 timeline so far from launch to now? I mean, how exactly has the game changed?
Well, first of all, like from the gates, we had a little bit of a rocky launch, and I mean, it kept us humble, let's say that. So what we kind of did in terms of addressing this was going really back to, you know, what the community wanted and trying to centralize, you know, the feedback that we've been getting and adding content to this. So we started with a strike team to really dig down to this and see what steps we needed to take. And ever since that, we've been going on that route. And I think we're getting there. We're taking steps all the time. So you know, it's a good journey that we've been on. So really appreciate that and the support from kind of the community. You know, during this year, it's been special, and we've been adding multiple things, you know, new solo mode that's in beta now that we're really looking to and hope the players like so they can really integrate, and also bringing 2 new DLCs, The Boys in Blue firstly, and then this Houston Breakout now, you know, cosmetics, weapons, among other things. So it's really great.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the Houston DLC? I mean, we know it's really hot there and that the Payday guys bring the heat, so...
Well, yeah, it definitely is. I mean, as Payday fans would know, it's a big homage to an old Payday 2 heist where we did a Hoxton breakout. And now, obviously, we have Houston, who is now in trouble. So we need to save him. So it's a massive courthouse that we have to infiltrate. The heisters has to go through there, and he's standing charged to be sentenced to a private prison owned by yours truly, Concord, which for the Payday fans out there will be very acquainted to. As I said before, we're gonna release it with all that jazz, with the weapon packs, with 3 new weapons and skins, and 4 suits, masks, and gloves. So what people can expect from our earlier releases, but also, as we've done, as people probably have learned now, we're releasing a free heist called Diamond District, where we're really digging down to kind of homage again to Payday 2, a straightforward heist with a lot of replayability, and we hope our players like it. We're seeing a lot of good results. And a whole slew of other things, which they should go to the Operation Medic Bag site to see, but those are definitely the main ones that we're really excited about to bring out.
I mean, that's a lot. So you talk about player reception. So how do they feel about these new additions? Have you seen any feedback from that yet?
And as I said, that we started this year about going back to kind of the strike team and Operation Medic Bag that we launched. We're really happy. I mean, it's a journey, right? And we've taken definitely steps in the right direction, and we're really helpful for the feedback from the community and the support. So, I mean, it's a step along the way. We're seeing players returning, which is really great and what we can ask for. So, it's a long journey. It's a marathon for us. So we're just happy we're trending in the right way.
Yeah, I think Payday is known for constantly updating the game, and that's exactly what you're doing, which brings me to the next question. I mean, the DLC 4, Fear and Greed, what can players expect?
Well, so, I mean, Payday as a franchise and IP has always been about getting in, heisting, getting the money, getting out. Now we are heisting the heart of capitalism, and that's not only like the New York Finance Exchange. So we're hitting it right in the arteries, which is really great. And with that, obviously, we have some new additions that we're really excited about. I know there's been a lot of talk about overkill weapons in the community and whatnot, so we're going to bring out the minigun, which I know is going to be, a big thing for a lot of people out there, and we're really excited about that addition. And as well, I mean, the Houston Breakout. For DLC 4, we're unveiling Houston as a free playable character, and I think that's going to be a great addition to the heister setup.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a player who does not like stealth, the minigun's going to be great for me.
It's hard.
Thank you. Yeah, so apart from the DLC, what else can we expect for Payday 3?
Yeah, so going the rest of the year in October, we really have some great updates going out, and specifically the ones that the community has shown a lot of care about. I mean, we have a roadmap. I hope you check that out. But what really we've been going down to is the server browser. It's been talked about a lot. The UI rework and VoIP, so that our heisters can really plan their heists together, and maybe do a little bit more stealth, because
I don't know.
It's coordination, right?
I suppose so. Maybe I could be convinced to do stealth, but I mean, it's just really fun to go in loud.
So you're more guns blazing kind of a...
I am. I mean, listen,
nice.
I always try to go stealth, and then it never works out, so thank you so much for joining me today and speaking with us about everything that's happening. So.
Yeah, likewise, it's really good to be here in the studio, and in Gamescom is such a great atmosphere, so we're always happy to have a chat with you guys.
Yes, I hope you enjoy Gamescom. And speaking of Gamescom, be sure to stay tuned for more news on the next chapter of Payday 3 coming soon. And if you haven't, you can get hands-on with Payday 3's latest DLC, Houston Breakout, now on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series consoles.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films. And before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection of the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Want the ultimate IGN experience? Check out IGN Plus. Members get exclusive deals and giveaways, ad-free browsing, unlimited tracking on IGN Maps, discounts at the IGN store and with IGN partners, and best of all, free games. Get 30 days of IGN Plus for just $1. Head to plus.ign.com.
IGN has the most thorough, easy-to-use, and high-tech maps out there. IGN Maps load faster with more markers than ever and are built for your phone as your constant companion to the biggest games. So start checking off markers for the game you are playing today. Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help. IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. You can even track your progress with interactive checklists so you know you reached that 100% completion. IGN has the very best, most complete, and accurate guides. Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
Hyper-realistic shooters with cutting-edge graphics are great and all, but have you ever wanted an FPS that looks like a cartoon from the 1930s? Well, somebody made one.
Here to tell us about Mouse PI for Hire, we're joined by game director Mateusz Mikulak.
Yes.
Is that right?
Right.
And lead producer Maciej Szemian. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, first of all, for someone who is seeing this game for the first time, tell us what we're looking at. What is Mouse PI for Hire?
So basically, it's a blend of all that we love in FPS games. So we are focused on the key elements that make FPS games fun. So the gunplay is very important, but on the other hand, we're going to add some other elements from Metroidvania games, for example. So abilities, some upgrades, ability to backtrack and access previously inaccessible areas. So yeah, it's a blend of everything we love in a game, not exactly a boomer shooter, rather something that feels both familiar and fresh at the same time.
I feel like this is way older than boomers. This is like the
grand boomers.
A couple generations earlier than them. Now, the Metroidvania aspect, we were talking about this before we started recording, but you've got sort of a grappling hook. Is that his tail?
Yes, that's his tail, actually.
Okay. Can we talk about sort of how the levels are structured? Is it kind of different little arenas, corridors, or open world, or how's it?
So it's a blend of all. So some levels will be rather linear, others will be more branching, and yeah, we're experimenting with different styles of level design because we want the game not to get repetitive during as you progress. Yeah.
And what sparked the initial idea for Mouse? Like, are you big fans of 1930s cartoons? Where did the idea come from?
So yeah, the idea was actually, it's quite funny because and Bioshock fan art drawn in rubber hose art style was found online many years ago by our art director, and he did like Bioshock. He does love rubber hose animation style. So he approached Mateusz a couple of years ago and said, hey, why don't we make a game out of this? And Mateusz loved the idea, so banded with just a couple of people. They started working on a prototype, and yeah, basically that's how Mouse was born.
The prototype went pretty viral. Like, people were immediately really attracted to this. And since that was released, you've clearly gone back and tweaked some stuff. Can you sort of point out some of the changes that have been made since that early footage showed up?
Yeah, I believe that the most crucial change is 3D environments. We put a lot of effort to meld the 2D animation with 3D environments. It's quite hard to do it. We believe that we achieved nice goal, and from there we are proceeding and working more about more levels.
Yeah, you may see that we have improved on the 2D animations, but yeah, the 3D is the biggest change so far, especially if you take a look, at our materials from a couple of months ago, because it took us a lot of experiments, given the fact that the game is entirely black and white. So we had to make sure that everything is clear to the player, that the players know what's interactable, what's not, and based on that, we decided what can stay in 3D, in 2D, what can be 3D, and we had to find the perfect blend of everything of that.
Are there any details, like in the animation, in the environments, that you're especially proud of?
Weapons rollings, we really like. We really like them. We're really proud of them. There are a lot of them. Right now, we showed only few weapons, but there will be much more in the final release.
Yeah, and I have to say that I quite like our enemy death animations because they're, over the top, really exaggerated. So yeah, I really love those.
Awesome.
Was there ever a version of this that was in color, or was it always black and white from day one?
It was always black and white.
Always.
Can we talk about any other abilities in addition to, so we've got this grapple with the tail, and obviously a lot of guns. Will we be doing anything else? Any other skills, abilities?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, some Metroidvania elements here and there, so you will be able, you will unlock some abilities as you progress. So the grappling hook for one thing, but the helicopter, that is also used by the protagonist as his tail over his head. Double jump, so some genre staples like that. We don't want to, spoil everything just now, but you can expect many different options to be unlocked as you go.
Cool.
I'm so into this game. I really love what you guys are doing here. Were there any specific, actual old cartoons that were huge influences on this? Did you kind of come across any hidden gems or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a stack of reference from the 90s, 30s, 90s, 40s. We watch all the shows, Popeye shows till today, all the episodes. There are a lot of them. Old cartoons made by
like Betty Boop, Felix the Cat, stuff like this. Basically, whatever fits into rubber hose category, we always take a look. Either if it's an animation, a comic book, we want to explore that, take a thorough look, and get some inspirations for that. So there's like a huge stack of materials in our office.
Now, obviously, this is a very different game, a very different genre to Cuphead, but I feel like seeing the rubber hose animation, maybe some people are having traumatic flashbacks to the punishing difficulty of Cuphead. Where are you pitching the difficulty for Mouse PI for Hire?
So, first of all, we are aiming to make the game as accessible to a wide audience as possible. So it will feature a couple of different difficulty modes. So if you want an easier experience and you want to, be focused on the story just like that, you can do that. And the game should be a breeze on easy. But if you're looking for a serious challenge, yes, we will provide that as well. And trust me, I've been playing the game on, harder settings just recently, and it's punishingly difficult. So yeah, basically, the choice is yours.
Nice.
I love it. Now let's talk a little bit about the lore and the setting. Who are we playing as? Who is this titular mouse?
Yeah, so our protagonist, his name's Jack Pepper. He's a World War I trench veteran who went back home, and first he became a cop, and after that he turned to be a private investigator. And, it's a noir story, so Jack tends to usually find himself in a heap of trouble. But this time it's bigger than usual. It's a pretty sticky fondue of, celebrities, mobsters, dirty politicians, and a conspiracy aimed at taking over the US. So, yeah, it's going to be a big adventure.
Yeah, we also have a second character named Tammy. Tammy is not a playable character, but is really important for the story. She's a young mice orphaned as a child whose mother Jack knew. While she's not participate in investigation or gunfights, she makes Jack work much easier. As she's great with everything mechanical, she's upgrading weapons, inventing new gadgets, upgrading the old ones. She can it all.
She can do it all as long as you don't ask her to make some coffee, right?
Fair enough. So how does that progression work? How do you upgrade weapons? What's the progression scheme like?
So along the way, you will find some NPCs offering you some side quests, side challenges, and you will get some in-game currency, or you will get some key items that can be used either to be traded for some upgrades done by Tammy, or to give them to the items to Tammy so she can fashion something out of them, because Tammy is the kind of character that always comes up with new ideas to create some new gadgets to make Jack's work easier. So some of this stuff is mandatory, like some of this stuff will be put on the main path of the game, but some of this stuff will be optional. So players who will want to dwell more into the game's world, who will want to immerse themselves more, will be rewarded in a meaningful way.
Now I'm curious. Sorry, I'm just spacing out here. Like the weapons, do they have alternate fire or anything like that?
They do.
Yeah?
They do.
Can we talk about how big this arsenal might be?
It's more than 10.
More than 10?
That's what I can say at this point. Because
that.
what we have showcased so far, these were just, I'd say, regular weapons, stuff that you expect to be present in an FPS game. But we have a couple of cool weapons, still to be shown. A couple of experimental, cartoonish weapons, if you will. I don't want to spoil much, but you will be surprised by the full arsenal.
Nice. Now, when can we expect to get our hands on it? Are you any plans for Steam Early Access, console release window, anything like that?
We can't reveal anything right now.
Yeah, we cannot reveal much at this point, but basically everything is in talks right now, and the idea of providing a hands-on demo for the public is always tempting. But we also want to make sure that it's fully polished, it's perfect. So not yet, but keep an eye out.
Well, we are dying to see more. As a very wise cartoon character once said, that is all, folks. Mouse P.I. Fihar is out sometime in the future, but you can wishlist it on Steam right now.
We have lots more cool stuff on the way from the Gamescom studio, so please stick around.
We've just made it to the north entrance of Gamescom, and right behind the camera there is a huge crowd of people absolutely buzzing to get in through the doors. I mean, check it out! Okay, what game are you most excited to play?
Space Marine.
How about you?
Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter 2. Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter. Space Marine 2.
Farming simulators every year, and every year I'm gonna look for it.
And this costume you've got on, this cosplay, who are you cosplaying as?
Guts from Berserk. It's not quite the armor. I didn't have the time to finish it, but I had the time for the sword.
That sword is amazing. How long did it take you to make?
Probably 2 weeks.
So you excited to get in through the doors?
I'm really excited.
Hey, your Jill Valentine cosplay is amazing. I'm presuming that you have been looking forward to Gamescom for a little while now. How long have you been waiting to get into the doors?
Honestly, we decided that yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah, me and my friend, we did it spontaneously. I bought my ticket yesterday, and this is my first time.
I'm in. I want to play the Infinity Nikki game. Nikki.
How about you, sir?
I would like to play Civilization 7 and the new Assassin's Creed.
So the whole ensemble is incredible. So yeah, have an awesome Gamescom, you two. Ahoy there, matey. That is an incredible outfit. Who are you cosplaying as?
I'm Teach from One Piece, Blackbeard, also known with the Darkness Fruit.
Is this your first Gamescom, or have you a seasoned veteran?
I would consider myself a seasoned veteran, yes.
How about you, Sub? What games are you most excited to play at Gamescom this year?
Probably Civilization 7, also the new Indiana Jones game, and also we're today pretty excited for the indie area.
Probably Enjoy. I've heard a lot of great things about the game, and I look forward to everything.
Definitely Monster Hunter.
I'm actually looking very much forward again to playing Final Fantasy 14 again. It hasn't been here for a couple of years before. I got to play it yesterday already, and now I'm kind of wanting to checking out like Inzoi, like the new life simulation game, something in very big hype at the moment. Also like the game right next to it, Dark and Darker, looked very interesting for a mobile game, so I'm very interested to try that out as well.
Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds.
Monster Hunter Wilds.
The doors are about to open any second now. Which game are you going to be running straight towards to play?
Gothic.
Here they come. What are you most excited to play?
Monster Hunter.
What are you most excited to play, sir?
Oh, for Monster Hunter.
Life is Strange Double Exposure.
Yeah.
I don't know who I can trust.
Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy, amazing! What game do you most want to play today?
Monster Hunter World.
All games! All games, best answer yet.
It's not Star Wars Outlaw.
It's not? You've thrown a curveball here. Which game?
Monster Hunter Wild. Monster Hunter Wild.
Probably Stalker 2.
World of Warcraft, actually.
Probably the most at the moment Space Marines 2.
Also Space Marine 2. Big Warhammer fan.
Monster Hunter Wild and Space Marine 2.
May the force be with you, sir.
Thank you. The Force with you too.
I love that.
Copa City is a football tycoon game where you transform an entire city to get it prepped to host world-class football events. Copa City features 3 meticulously crafted maps based on real cities like Warsaw and Berlin, and includes 6 world-class football clubs like Flamengo, Arsenal FC, and FC Bayern Munich. Here's an exclusive first look at Alpha gameplay.
Football. Every time before the ball is set in motion on the pitch, it's the culmination of hard work. To captivate the fans, to ensure everyone's safety, to meet every need, and to ignite the city's fiesta for the game. Sometimes it requires making tough decisions with lasting consequences. To elevate your football event to a global stage, to bring the best players and clubs to your city, to make your game happen in Copa City.
Want the ultimate IGN experience? Check out IGN Plus. Members get exclusive deals and giveaways, ad-free browsing, unlimited tracking on IGN maps, discounts at the IGN store and with IGN partners, and best of all, free games. Get 30 days of IGN Plus for just $1. Head to plus.ign.com.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection to the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
IGN Store has it all. From clothes and collectibles to vinyl records, accessories, model kits, and action figures from the biggest and best franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Star Wars, Fallout, Dungeons & Dragons, and more. Whatever your pop culture passion, you're guaranteed to find something you love. There are new and exciting products hitting the store every week, like the Wasteland-ready Fallout Vault 33 hoodie, which pairs perfectly with the working wearable Pip-Boy. Plus, high-quality IGN Store exclusives like the powerful and spicy Star Wars Darkside Hot Sauce by Truff. We've even got merchandise for you to rock while tuning in to the IGN shows and podcasts you love. Or cap off a long day by relaxing to the soundtracks of your favorite video games, like Cyberpunk and The Last of Us. And the best part? You don't even need to leave the house to go there. Just head to store.ign.com and start shopping today. The IGN Store. You deserve it.
IGN has the most thorough, easy-to-use, and high-tech maps out there. IGN maps load faster with more markers than ever and are built for your phone as your constant companion to the biggest games. So start checking off markers for the game you are playing today.
Hello, everybody. It's day 2 of Gamescom here in Cologne, Germany. We are here in Hall 7 outside the IGN merch booth where there's a bunch of really cool stuff on sale. If you're here, you should swing by, grab something, treat yourself. We got cool hoodies, exclusive t-shirts, a bunch of awesome stuff. There's a Geralt mini bus, which is awesome. If you're not at Gamescom, go to store.ign.com and you can find a bunch of this stuff for sale right now.
And today on the IGN stage, we have Sonic and Shadow Generations. After that, we've got Star Wars Outlaws, and following that, Batman Arkham Shadow. So stick around, stay tuned.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Andreas, the producer on The Eternal Life of Goldman. Now, The Eternal Life of Goldman stars a very old man, and it's not very often you see old men in the starring roles of video games. Can you tell us a little bit about Goldman and why he deserves his own video game?
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. You know, usually you don't have these kind of protagonists. I feel it's kind of you feel like you're actually the protagonist of an ancient fable or like a parable, right? They often would have, old men essentially that would, outsmart their enemies, and it feel like it makes it pretty special. It also gives the opportunity to us to, have something else as their main tool, which in our case is a cane, which, is fitting for an old man. And thirdly, there's a very concrete narrative reason why he's called Goldman and why he's an old man that I can't go into now because of spoilers.
So my first impressions of the demo were that it was kind of like Up meets DuckTales with that cane, the old NES game DuckTales. But also there's this nightmarish kind of sinister vibe going on in the background. Is Goldman going to end up being a horror game?
No, not at all. It's not going to be a horror game, but you're right. There is a bizarreness and weirdness to it. So again, I feel like, it goes well with the theme of fables or fairy tales. You have the beautiful and the bizarre, the macabre and the frightening, like the terrifying next to each other. So I think it's not going to be a horror game, but it's going to go places that are dark and deep, definitely.
And what kind of dark and deep inspirations did the team draw from for this game?
So I think mostly we go back to like ancient fables, like, not one specific, but like these traditions of, the big questions of life and death. Like you take your ancient Jewish, your ancient Greek mythologies basically and see like, it's about the eternal life, right? So like what lies beyond, what lies beneath, and, what even makes life worth living, I guess. So I think it's more about, the darkness and the existential questions. And actually, if you have a close listen to the announcement trailer and you hear the audio, what's being said in the trailer, that already gives you a hint what the game main horror or themes are about. So I think it's really homing in on the fear within us that is kind of exemplified in these bizarre creatures. But it's not like one thing. It's really like what makes these myths and these ancient fears kind of go together.
Okay, well, in terms of that trailer, I saw a couple of enemies in there that look like caterpillars, but they also had a fairly suggestive design to them. Do you know what I mean?
No,
they look a little bit penisy.
Oh!
Does that say something about Goldman's psyche? Is this game taking place inside his mind?
I cannot neither deny nor confirm that. But there's definitely, I'm with you on that. Like if you look at the enemy design closely, there's some disturbing stuff, that you sort of, if your therapist asks you, like, draw your fears, it might be a worm with a penis. Oh, it will look like that. So I think it's about that. It's, I would say like, challenging these deep fears and just like having them in those kind of frightening creatures. But in the end, it's of course what you see in them.
Oh no, that's Freudian.
Yeah.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, anyway, Goldman's cane seems to be pretty customizable. In fact, we saw that you could swap out the shaft to allow you to either jump on enemies' heads or also jump higher. Can you talk a little bit more about his cane and what abilities it gives you throughout the game?
Absolutely. So like one of the main things that we said, like, he's an old man, he doesn't have like an arsenal of weapons, is his cane. But the cane is not just for walking, it's customizable. So like have 3 parts where you can shift the parts basically, and to either give you more mobility, like in the demo, for instance, we have an extended jump where you can grab onto stuff, but you have also stuff like phosphorus cane, which will illuminate the darkness, or an aura, which will attract certain enemies and do damage to other enemies. So it's essentially like basically choosing the right combination of equipment for each situation. I want to emphasize though, like we want to keep this accessible and like easy to switch. You can switch on the fly, as you said, like while playing. It's not you're gonna sit like think for hours about the right loadout. Just gonna like, I have these parts. Hey, how can I combine these two things for a certain situation? And we just wanna basically play around with that, and you know, give players the ability, but also like, you know, you mentioned DuckTales before, and it's a cool inspiration, but in DuckTales it was essentially just for jumping, and the cane is more than just a pogo stick. It, you know, it can be customized, it can be like a really effective and versatile tool, and I think just, you know, playing around with that and really focusing on what the cane can do, I think it's one of the strengths of the game.
Awesome. Now, in terms of the Kane's upgrades, I presume we don't get them all at the same time. Does that mean that this game is going to be more of a Metroidvania style game, or is it a linear side-scroller?
As you were saying, you know, there's a linearity to the game, so basically it's a narrative experience, right? You know, you want to be in the story back and forth. You're not going to be like, sort of, you know, thinking like mechanically. Like in Metroidvanias, you often have this kind of backtracking, and then you find ability, you go back there. I think for us, it has elements of that because there's stuff in Metroidvanias that we like a lot, right? Especially you like the world opening up, getting new abilities and making that abilities or that gear, you know, worthwhile and make it count, right? So I think that's what we're trying from there. But I think we have a bit more of a focused narrative experience. There is a bit of non-linearity in the path you choose, but it's not a full-fledged Metroidvania. So we like to call it like a platform adventure, actually. Like there's an adventure part, you know, of, you know, finding new areas, finding new biomes, but the core mechanics is the platforming.
Awesome. Now, one of the things that stands out about the game is its visual style. It all looks hand-drawn, but I've heard the team on this game is very small. Have they used any AI or anything in the process of creating the look for the game?
There is no AI involved in that game, so everybody, you know, it's really people sitting down on their desks for weeks, months, and actually can take up to a year for a biome to be finished. So it's really like hand-drawn. So you're gonna, you know, first by hand on a piece of paper sketch that, then use your tools to bring it into the game. It's that classic line art. I mean, you could tell the AI to do something, but it's not gonna come out like this. And I think that level of detail, and also that it all fits together, right? It all makes sense and also works as a game, because, you know, there's also stuff it has to, you know, you have to understand as a player where you're going. AI can't do that, even in 20 years.
Right.
And I think the only way of really getting this done is, okay, like, you're gonna do this right, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna paint it, we're gonna paint some more, and then we're gonna do some more painting and animating. And that's essentially what WP has been doing for the past couple of years.
Awesome. Well, the game looks great, Andreas, and I hope we don't have to wait an eternity for the eternal life of Goldman.
Sonic X Shadow Generations is an enhanced version of 2011's beloved Sonic Generations, featuring new standalone content with Shadow the Hedgehog, who now has Doom powers. Here to tell me all about it are Takashi Iizuka and Austin Keys from Sega of America. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So, bringing back Sonic Generations, getting Shadow in there, and now Shadow has these Doom powers. Doom Sphere, Doom Blast, Doom Morph, Doom Wing, Doom Surf, and more. Tell us about these. Is Shadow doomed? What's happening here?
はい、今回ソニックシャドウジェネレーションを作るにあたってですね、ソニックにはない新しい能力を、シャドウに与えようということで、今回そのドゥームパワーっていう新しい能力をシャドウに与えました。本当に今ご紹介いただいたようにドゥームウィングって言ってシャドウに羽が生えるすごいかっこいいアクションを筆頭にですね、さまざまないろんなアクションをこうゲームをプレイするに伝えてこう徐々にこう成長していく、徐々に取得していくっていうところが、このゲームの一つの楽しみ方になってます。
So yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations, we wanted to make a game where we gave, you know, Sonic is in there, but Shadow is going to have these new powers and new abilities that he'll be able to, you know, do all throughout the game. It was something interesting. All the Doom powers that you talked about, yes, they're all in there. Doom Wing is a really cool one where he actually grows wings. We wanted to have Shadow have these abilities and kind of earn them as you're playing the game to give him new things to do as you're playing the game and progressing through the story. So that is one of the new points that's really fun about the Shadow side of Sonic X Shadow Generations.
And I believe there are some other familiar faces we'll be seeing. I believe Metal Overlord was spotted in the latest trailer. That's sure to please fans. How does Metal Overlord fit into the package?
はい、ソニックジェネレーションを遊んだことのある方はおそらく分かるかと思うんですけども、このジェネレーションというシリーズのゲームは 一旦すべてタイムイーターによって過去が全部消されてしまって、その今までこう歩んできた歴史をもう一度こう歩み直すっていうゲームなんですね。なので、そのファイナルのバイオリザードとか今回のメタルオーバーロードとか、これはソニックヒーローズの時のラスボスなんですけども、これらともう一度シャドウが戦うことになる、そういう流れになってます。
So, as for anyone who's played Sonic Generations, you may know this already, but the whole Generations format is that the Time Eater has come and kind of taken away all of time and space, and everything is in this kind of strange time-space void. And as you're going through the game, you're kind of revisiting a lot of the places from the past, and you're re-experiencing it and kind of putting the time-space continuum back. So for the Shadow side, we do have things like BioLizard. They are going to be stuck in that, time-space continuum issue. Metal Overlord is the last boss from Sonic Heroes. These are all going to be bosses that Shadow, again, will have to face and defeat in order to put the time continuum back.
And I believe we saw footage in the latest trailer of Chaos Island, which is from Sonic Frontiers, which I believe came out after the original Sonic generation. So now that you are sort of revisiting the package, adding Shadow, it's not just you're not just pulling from games that came out before Sonic Generations, is that correct? It seems like everything is game.
そうですね。ソニックジェネレーションズがリリースしたのが2011年なんですけども、それ以降にソニックフォースとか、あとソニックフロンティアとか、さまざまなゲームがリリースされてますけども、その過去から最新作のソニックフロンティアズまでを今回のシャドウジェネレーションズでは取り入れてます。
So yes, you're exactly correct. Sonic Generations came out in 2011, and it kind of revisited all of the past up until 2011. But for the Shadow side, there's Sonic Forces that came out after Generations, Sonic Frontiers that came out after Generations, and so we wanted to, go not only all the way back from the beginning, but continue on all the way up to Sonic Frontiers and kind of portray a lot of parts of different games in Shadow Generations.
So Shadow's campaign within Sonic Generations, is it completely separate, or will Sonic and Shadow meet up at some point during the game?
はい、ソニックジェネレーションズとシャドウジェネレーションズは実は同じタイムラインで物語が進行してまして、どちらもタイムイーターによってその時間と空間が消されてしまったっていう、そこから物語がスタートします。で、ソニックジェネレーションズを遊んだことある人には分かると思うんですけど、途中シャドウとの出会いもあるんですね、絡みも。でそれも今回のシャドウジェネレーションズでもこうザッピングみたいな感じで両方がこう重なり合った形でストーリーが進行します。
Yes, Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations take place in the same timeline. The story both starts